But if you listen to somebody and the words that come out of their mouth, in spite of what you're going through, no weapon formed against you. If you turn it on and somebody tell you, I won't complain. If you turn it on and somebody tell you, through the tests and trials, yet I made it. So by the time I got to the campus, my purpose was clearer and louder than my pain. Anybody feel what I'm saying? So ministry was taking place. Even though my plans were confused, my purpose was clear. I'm sure Joseph was very confused right now. Lord, if you were going to impregnate her, why not let me participate? I mean, come on now. Come on now. Let's be real about this now. Let's be real. You giving me a woman and told me to spend the rest of my life with her and her first child won't be... Lord, I would have been like, Lord, if you need somebody to go, I'll go. But I would have showed up. And the Holy Spirit was there, Lord, you would have let me show out. Yeah, you chose. Yeah, you chose, Lord, a different route. I'm confused. Yet I'll let my purpose remain. So now Joseph had to now give up his pride. Get this now. Joseph had to give up his pride because everybody in the town knew his fiancée was a virgin. Everybody knew. David had landed the one. Excuse me, Joseph had landed the one. So everybody now starts seeing her stomach. Some things you just can't hide. See, that's some sin you can commit and nobody know. You can lie all day long and nobody know. You can cheat, steal, all that, nobody know. But when you get pregnant, you can't hide it. You can wear bigger clothes and all that, but eventually it's going to start showing.
When you're pregnant with something.
So now, Joseph had to give up his pride because now everybody was talking about him. They weren't even talking about her. They were talking about him. And when you have purpose, sometimes your purpose will cause you to give up your pride. Because what happens when your purpose does not make sense to other people? And what happens when your purpose don't blow up overnight? What happens when your purpose has to go through a process? What happens when your purpose is going through this process and it's a public process? See, it's one thing to grow and mature behind closed doors, but when everybody is watching you, when everybody is talking about you, when everybody is giving you an opinion about you, you gotta understand something. Joseph could have easily taken the road of less resistance and kicked her to the curb. He could have easily said, you have betrayed me. Let me move on. Yet he gave up his pride because his purpose spoke louder than his flesh. That was a hard call. But sometimes in life, it's our pride that's stopping us from being elevated and promoted by God. Because until you can kill your pride, God can never give you the prize. Many of us are struggling not because of a lack of giftedness, but your giftedness is covered by so many layers of pride, they can't see God in you because you're too loud. Joseph had to give up his pride. The opinions of others at some point in your life should not matter that much. You are a slave whenever you need the opinion of others to make a decision. You have allowed them to become your master. Whenever you need a popular opinion poll before you can make a decision if you agree or disagree with something, you're really not making a decision. You are allowing the current to sway you. And they will forever sway you, because once somebody realizes they can manipulate you, they will pimp you for the rest of your life. You'll be about to make a move and say, I don't like that. Oh, me either. Ooh, I'm getting ready to get my seat. I don't know about that. Oh, me. So you have now become enslaved by the opinion of others. And the true definition of freedom, when I don't give a darn about what you think. If I heard from God and God has given me purpose, until you are willing to lose everything and everybody for God, you are not ready yet for God to give you everything. If you're still concerned about who may not like you, you're not ready to handle what God has for you. So Joseph had to give up his pride. And then the next thing, Joseph had to give up his old way of thinking and responding. He had to give up his old way of thinking and responding. I know you thought when I said a season to give, you thought I was going to talk about money. But I knew you couldn't handle money yet. So I had to start it out slow by changing the way you think and respond. Job had to change his old way of thinking and responding. Because the old way he thought was, well, she broke the rules. And the rules said, I got the right to get rid of her. Actually, if you're really technical about the rules, I could have called the posse and stoned her to death. Because their culture said that if a woman committed adultery, and in their culture, when you became engaged, you were basically married until the wedding was just an outward ceremony. And engagement, their custom, meant you were locked up. And if you broke the vows by law, you could be stoned to death. So Joseph could have caused an uproar and had her brought in the town square and stoned to death. But he changed his old way of thinking. And the Bible says he sat down and he allowed the angel to speak to him. In other words, it's time for us to give up our emotional outbursts and sit down and let the Spirit of God let us see what are you trying to tell me in my difficult time. Let me slow down. You need to put yourself in a position where you can learn from every negative situation. The Bible says he considered these things, but after he considered these things, which means he did not just respond. And many of us just respond irrationally. We get a bit of information, we see a piece of thing, and we go crazy. We lose our mind. We respond in a negative fashion, but you don't have the whole story yet. The Bible says he sits and he considers all these things. Joseph took the time to pray, think, reflect, and then respond. So he had to give up his old way of thinking and responding. Tell your neighbor, get rid of some of those old thoughts. You've been acting a fool too long. Next, then the Bible says, hey, don't be scared, don't be scared of them. Don't be scared of them. If they move next week, they don't sit by you, so what? Notice the Bible says, the angel told Joseph, do not be afraid. Joseph had to give up the spirit of fear. Many of you are captivated by the spirit of fear. Even when something looks right and sounds right, you will let fear talk you out of it. Joseph had to give up the spirit of fear because fear did not come from God. Fear is the opposite of faith, and we ought to be men and women of faith, and fear is the opposite of faith. Fear says no and no way. Faith says yes, and God can make a way.